The 11th time my wife, Su Qingyu, brought up divorce because of her first love, I was tired. Faced with the divorce papers she handed me, I calmly took them and signed my name. She hesitated slightly. What tricks are you playing now? I'm telling you, this isn't a joke. Once you sign, we're getting divorced. I glanced at my phone, at the intimate photos her first love had sent, pictures of the two of them in bed. A sense of release washed over me, and I smiled faintly. I've thought it through very clearly. Let's end it here. Seeing me sign the divorce papers without hesitation, Su Qingyu was stunned for a long moment. Are you sure you've thought this through? Her voice held an undefinable emotion, her gaze unusually complex. Let me remind you, I'm not kidding. Don't sign now and regret it later. I don't have time to play house with you. I looked at her steadily. It seemed ever since we got married, she always wore a long face, perpetually unhappy. I'd almost forgotten what her smile looked like. It wasn't surprising, really. After all, I was the one who clung to her back then, refusing to let go, refusing the divorce. She must have been fed up with me long ago. Her coldness was only natural. Under her somewhat shocked gaze, I slowly slipped the wedding ring off my finger and tossed it onto the table. I've made up my mind. Su Qingyu, let's get divorced. Su Qingyu's frown deepened. I'll ask you one last time, Jiang Yuchen. Are you absolutely sure you've thought this through? Her tone carried a heavy warning. I knew she was warning me not to back out halfway. After all, her first love, Hu Jibin, had boasted to me more than once that as soon as we divorced, they would move abroad together. But I didn't feel angry. On the contrary, seeing her so resolute, I actually felt relieved, because if this had been before, I probably wouldn't have let go no matter what. But now I didn't care anymore. Su Qingyu. I stepped forward and gently took her hand. As the expected, I knew it look appeared on her face. I called her intimately one last time. Qingyu. Su Qingyu smirked. I knew you. But halfway through her sentence, I had already removed the wedding ring from her finger. Su Qingyu's pupils contracted. I casually picked up both rings and tossed them into the trash bin. 5 years ago, filled with love and passion, I personally placed this ring on her finger. 5 years later, I personally took it off. A beginning and an end, I suppose. From now on, our 5-year relationship has finally come to a full stop. Finally, it's over. My voice was unnaturally calm. Truthfully, I should have known long ago that my marriage with Su Qingyu was doomed from the start. But I was young then, always thinking I could just drag it out one more day at a time. I truly loved her, even willing to lose myself for her sake. Back then, I couldn't even imagine what I would become if I lost her. But now, reality showed that I had overthought things back then. Anyone can live perfectly fine without someone else. Of course, perhaps my love for her wasn't deep enough. Or perhaps I'd finally regained my senses and realized such a woman wasn't worth holding on to. All in all, I did have some regrets. If only I had understood sooner that a clean break is better than prolonged agony. Why would I have wasted 5 whole years? Su Qingyu's expression remained dark throughout. Perhaps she felt slighted because I was the one who readily agreed to the divorce, hurting her pride. But whatever the reason, I no longer cared. If you find time to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau, let me know in advance so I can make time. After saying this, I had no intention of wasting any more time and turned to leave with large strides. But unexpectedly, Su Qingyu quickly followed me out, blocking my path. Jiang Yuchen, what scheme are you plotting now? I couldn't help but smile bitterly. Even now, she was still worried that after agreeing to the divorce, I'd pull some other stunt. But in reality, where would I find the energy for such convoluted plans? I was simply going along with her wishes, choosing to let her go. And, of course, letting myself go too. I sighed and shook off Su Qingyu's hand. Rest assured, I'm serious. After the divorce, I absolutely won't bother you and Hu Jibin. If you want to move abroad, go ahead. I definitely won't be foolish enough to chase you overseas over this. Move abroad? When did I say I was moving abroad? Su Qingyu looked completely bewildered. Maybe she was just so overjoyed that I'd stopped clinging to her, that she'd forgotten her own plans with her first love. Still, I had no obligation to explain anything to her. Go back, Su Qingyu. I shook my head with a light chuckle. I need to start my new life too. Su Qingyu's eyes were slightly red as she stared intently at me. Why, she asked. Why did you agree so readily this time? It's nothing. I'm just a bit tired, I replied calmly. But she seemed to catch on to something, her tone growing impatient. Is it just because of that meal? That meal? So she still remembered. When I first married Su Qingyu, I had no idea Hu Jibin even existed. I thought meeting such a beautiful woman, falling in love, building a life together, it was all fate, destiny. It wasn't until Hu Jibin appeared after our wedding that I realized how pathetic and laughable my naive dreams had been. I still remember the first time we met. The moment he saw me, Hu Jibin beamed with an unsettling familiarity. I've heard you talk about you often, he said smoothly. Said you were a lot like me. Well, I finally made it back from overseas, and I thought, no matter what, we absolutely had to meet. He extended his hand. Hello, I'm Hu Jibin, Qingyu's good friend. Thanks for taking such good care of her all these years. I didn't move, just stood there stunned. His tone reeked of staking a claim. But Su Qingyu didn't seem to notice anything amiss. She greeted Hu Jibin warmly, even opening the high-grade Tiguanyin tea I'd bought as a gift for my father, diligently brewing it and serving it to him. Hu Jibin accepted the cup with a smile, but I clearly saw him use that moment to brush his hand against Su Qingyu's. She pulled away quickly, but the shared smile in their eyes was like a physical blow. I never thought, Qingyu, Hu Jibin mused, after all this time, you'd still remember my favorite tea. I remember you told me years ago, when we were traveling, that this kind was excellent, Su Qingyu replied. I've remembered ever since. They chatted about their shared past, a past where I didn't exist, completely oblivious to my presence. Standing there, I felt utterly out of place. In that instant, I knew my marriage was in serious trouble. That night marked the first time we had a truly explosive argument. In Su Qingyu's eyes, my anger over her ambiguous behavior with Hu Jibin was completely unreasonable, just me making a scene. Furious, I grabbed her wrist, demanding answers. You and him, childhood sweethearts, each other's first love. You kissed, you held each other, you even planned to get married in that country where divorce is impossible. Why did you hide all that from me? Why? Su Qingyu. I choked out. What exactly am I to you? I still remember her silence, the look of sheer annoyance as she yanked her hand away, offering a dismissive explanation. Jiang Yuchen, if anything were going to happen between Abin and me, it would have happened long ago. Would you even be in the picture? She scoffed. You're a grown man. Can't you be a little more broad-minded? Even now, she thinks the same way. Otherwise, she wouldn't dismiss it all as being just because of a meal. But if it hadn't been for that meal, I doubt Su Qingyu would have asked for a divorce again and again. And why should she? I'm a victim here. That day was our wedding anniversary. I wanted to surprise her. I woke up at the crack of dawn, went to the market for the freshest ingredients, determined to cook a romantic candlelit dinner. I'd even had a custom necklace made weeks in advance, planning to put it on her myself. What did I do wrong in all of that? I rushed around, full of anticipation for her surprise. But all I got was a cold text message. Abin is sick. I have to take him to the hospital for an 4 drip. I won't be back tonight. My entire day's effort evaporated. I sat alone at the table, staring at the meticulously prepared dishes growing cold, unable to comprehend. Why? How could I possibly compare to Hu Jibin? Just then, my phone lit up. A message from a friend. Happy anniversary. I know you're busy celebrating with your wife, so I won't bother you. Man, I envy you, having a wife who loves you so much. Reading that, alone at the table, felt like the cruelest irony. Su Qingyu didn't come home until the next morning, looking exhausted. She saw the table laden with cold food, paused, and then immediately scolded me. I told you not to wait up. You made all this food just to let go to waste. The anger simmering inside me finally boiled over. We fought horribly. It was the first time I'd ever said such ugly things to her. Her eyes red. Su Qingyu slapped me hard across the face. It was just one meal. Do you have to be like this? She screamed. There's a limit to jealousy, you know? What is there to be so angry about? I ignored her, stubbornly repeating, You just want to get back with Hu Jibin, don't you? Stop pretending. Jiang Yuchen, are you insane? Su Qingyu roared back. After the shouting died down, silence fell between us. I sat on the sofa, taking deep breaths, trying to compose myself, deciding to swallow my pride and talk things through calmly. But just as I was about to speak, she cut in. Yes, that's right, she declared, her voice dripping with spite. I do want to get back together with Hu Jibin. Are you satisfied now? She glared at me. How could you possibly compare to him? He's better looking, richer, more cultured, more generous than you. And besides, her voice was laced with venom. He's the one I truly loved. Does hearing me say that make you happy? They say those closest to you know best how to hurt you. It couldn't be truer. Su Qingyu's words made me feel like I was strapped to an executioner's block. Every syllable was a razor's edge, tearing mercilessly into my flesh. Life with you. It's just so dull. Su Qingyu gasped, her voice raspy, her gaze chillingly indifferent. Over just one meal? You have to make such a scene? I'm exhausted dealing with this. If we can't make this work, let's just get a divorce. Even now, she stubbornly boiled everything down to that one dinner. It seemed she'd never understand it wasn't about the meal at all. Since that day, she had handed me divorce papers 10 separate times. Each time she placed them in my hand, her voice dripped with scorn as she reminded me. Jiang Yuchen, the fact that we've ended up here? Ultimately, it's all your fault. We were never right for each other. This relationship was a mistake from the very start. If I'd known back then what a petty, narrow-minded man you are, I would never have married you. It really did seem like it all stemmed from that one dinner. And now, Su Qingyu was dragging it up again. Answer me. Was it really just about the dinner? Seeing my silence, she pressed again, relentless. But what difference would it make? Even if I poured out everything on my mind, she just accused me of stirring up trouble. After all, there was never really any room for me in her heart. For a relationship already on its last legs, the reason for the breakup hardly mattered anymore. But I knew why she was pushing. She just wanted an excuse, some final justification to pin all the blame on me as we parted ways. Yes, that's right. It was just because of the dinner, I replied, playing along with a smile. Su Qingyu froze, just standing there stunned. She looked like she wanted to say something, but though her lips moved, no words came out. I didn't know what she was trying to convey. I just watched her calmly. Our eyes met. After a long moment, she finally spoke. You don't have to leave. The house is yours, after all. With that, she started packing her suitcase. I'll move out and stay with Ben. Tomorrow morning, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Hearing her say that, I felt a strange sense of relief. I'd wondered if I'd feel jealous or hurt when she brought him up again. Thankfully, I felt nothing at all. All right, what time tomorrow? Hearing my question, Su Qingyu, who'd been busy packing, abruptly stopped. After a moment of silence, as if venting her frustration, she suddenly slammed her suitcase onto the floor. Then she spun around to face me. Her eyes seemed to question, to reproach, swirling with a complex mix of emotions I couldn't decipher. I couldn't read them, and I didn't want to. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, she said, her voice robotic, her eyes fixed on me. 8 o'clock, right when the Civil Affairs Bureau opens. It seemed she really couldn't wait to be rid of me. A chill spread through my chest. Not regret, exactly. Just a sense that my past efforts, my genuine feelings, had all been utterly wasted. All right then, see you at the bureau tomorrow. I nodded calmly. Is there anything else you need to pack? If not, I can call Hu Jibin right now to come pick you up. Jiang Yuchen. Su Qingyu bit her lip, hesitating. After a long pause, she finally spoke. Actually, the reason we ended up like this. It's all my fault. I cut her off, a cold laugh escaping me. But at my words, she looked startled, shaking her head quickly. No. I meant to say. You already said that 5 years ago. I cut her off again, a self-mocking smile on my face. I never responded before, but seeing as we're about to finalize this divorce, I feel I should say a word or two in my own defense. My tone was surprisingly calm, as if I were discussing something completely detached from myself, just idle chatter over tea. I began calmly. A splitting up. It wasn't my fault. Su Qingyu, you were the one who let go first. And now, I'm letting go too. I hope we never see each other again. Hu Jibin drove over and picked up Su Qingyu. I was the one who called him. Su Qingyu didn't even know. Before leaving, she hesitated, reluctantly looking back with every step. Jiang Yuchen, I'm leaving now. Goodbye. I won't see you out. I'm really going. Okay. Impatiently, I grabbed her luggage for her, carried it outside the door where Hu Jibin was waiting, and spoke coldly. Just go. Seeing this, Su Qingyu lowered her head, looking a bit dejected. Hu Jibin considerately helped put the luggage in the car. Ignoring Su Qingyu's lingering, reluctant gaze, I turned around without the slightest hesitation and shut the door. That night, I slept exceptionally well for the first time in ages. My mood was also calm in a way it hadn't been for a long time, as if a huge boulder had finally been lifted from my heart, allowing my long-suppressed spirit to finally breathe. The next day, I deliberately woke up early and spent a long time getting ready. I had to look my best to attend the official proceeding that was 5 whole years overdue. At the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Su Qingyu and Hu Jibin stood hand in hand. Beside me, there was no one, but I didn't feel lonely in the slightest. On the contrary, I felt radiant. I was about to embrace a new beginning. There weren't many people handling business in the morning, so we completed all the procedures quickly and walked out the main entrance one after the other. Su Qingyu remained silent the entire time. Even as Hu Jibin constantly fawned over her, she remained indifferent. I paid them no mind, planning to find a nearby place for breakfast. Unexpectedly, before I had taken more than a few steps, a woman gracefully walked towards me. She had a fine figure and a faint smile on her exquisite face. I hadn't planned on engaging, but the woman was clearly heading straight for me. Looking at her face, a sense of familiarity slowly surfaced. The woman strode up to me, took off her sunglasses, glanced sideways at Su Qingyu not far away with a hint of mockery in her eyes, then extended her hand towards me with a slight smile. I couldn't make it to your wedding banquet back then. Who would have thought I'd make it to your divorce instead? Jiang Yuchen, happy divorce. How about grabbing a bite together? Lu Yi, what are you doing here? I was somewhat surprised. Thinking back, I hadn't seen her in many years. The last time was 5 years ago on my wedding day. The night before the wedding, a good friend called me, saying Lu Yi was dead drunk at the restaurant we frequented. I asked why she drinks so much. There was silence on the other end. Then Lu Yi's drunken voice came through. Congrats on the wedding, Jiang Yuchen. I frowned. How did you get so drunk? Will you even be able to wake up to be a bridesmaid tomorrow? Silence again. After a long pause, she mumbled, hearing you're getting married. Makes me happy. I'm happy, so can I drink if I want to? Her voice sounded strange, muffled, almost like she had a cold. I sighed. Even if you're happy, you shouldn't drink like this. It's bad for you. If you're happy, I'm happy. You getting married? Her voice trailed off. Then, my friend told me she had passed out on the table. But the next day, Lu Yi showed up at the wedding as if nothing had happened. She was radiant, a brilliant smile plastered on her face, making the previous night's drunken mess seem like a distant dream. She enthusiastically helped me greet the arriving guests and manage things on site. She was incredibly attentive. The whole process went perfectly smoothly. Even Su Qingyu couldn't help but remark, he is putting in so much effort. It's almost like she's the one getting married. Beside me, my other friend shook his head meaningfully. She's definitely invested, but whether she's truly happy is another story. I felt there was something more to his words at the time. Just as I was about to ask, Lu Yi ran over, changing the subject, talking about wedding matters one moment, reassuring Su Qingyu not to be nervous the next. Finally, she looked at me and said in a very serious tone, Jiang Yuchen, I hope you find lifelong happiness. After the wedding, before I even had a chance to properly thank her, she rushed off to catch a flight abroad. Her family said she was going overseas for further studies. I called her, but she didn't pick up. Figuring she was on the plane, I sent her a text. Why leave in such a hurry? You should at least have had a proper get-together with the guys. She only replied late that night. There'll be chances in the future. Unexpectedly, that departure lasted 5 years. Lu Yi stayed abroad and never came back, while my friends got busy with work and family. As for me, worn down and exhausted by the emotional toll of my relationship, I barely need to elaborate. And so, that promise of a future chance was delayed by a full 5 years. Looking at the bright, smiling face of Lu Yi before me, I felt a little dazed. Why are you spacing out? Lu Yi reached out, gently pinched my nose, and pretended to be angry. It's only been 5 years. Have you forgotten me already? Jiang Yuchen, you faithless man, she teased, mock sobbing. I snapped back to reality, overjoyed. Why didn't you tell me you were back in the country? I would have picked you up from the airport. Seeing my genuine surprise and delight, Lu Yi nodded, satisfied. What? Not happy to see me? Maybe I should go back to the airport, so you can pick me up properly? I couldn't help but chuckle. Right, what are you doing here? I think I only told my close friends about my divorce. Just a coincidence. Lu Yi waved her hand nonchalantly. Guess it means we're fated to meet. Su Qingyu stared warily at Lu Yi. Although she didn't say anything, I could clearly see the hostility in her eyes. Just then, Hu Zhibin's phone rang. He stepped aside to answer it, while Su Qingyu continued to glare fixedly at us. I ignored her and asked Lu Yi, how long are you planning to stay this time? I'll call Su Hao later. We should all get together properly. You think I needed you to suggest that? I've already arranged it. Lu Yi grabbed my arm. I already talked to Su Hao. We're having hot pot at his place tonight. I specifically told that guy to get a clear broth. But right now, you need to take this young lady out for breakfast first. At that moment, Su Qingyu suddenly spoke up. Clear broth? Don't you know Jiang Yuchen hates clear broth? Is that how you invite someone? Silence fell instantly. Lu Yi and I both turned to look at her. Even Hu Zhibin, still on the phone nearby, heard the commotion and kept glancing over. Su Qingyu looked flustered and quickly turned away, avoiding my gaze. But Lu Yi wasn't about to let her off the hook. She sneered, got nothing better to do? You're getting divorced, yet you're still trying to boss him around. Miss Su, just who do you think you are? Her sarcastic words, delivered with a mocking tone, made Su Qingyu's face darken instantly. She gritted her teeth and scoffed. We still have 30 days before we get the certificate. We're not officially divorced yet. Jiang Yuchen is still my husband. Su Qingyu wasn't technically wrong, but did 30 days really make a difference? During one of our arguments, She herself had clearly said, "Who do you think you are?" If the divorce process wasn't so troublesome, I would have run off with Hu Jibin long ago. Logically, shouldn't she be more eager than me to get that divorce certificate? Oh, Lu Yi stepped in front of me, her voice dripping with contempt. Judging by that, you don't want the divorce anymore? Why don't you ask the guy on the phone if he agrees? How ridiculous. What? You don't want the divorce so you can keep leeching off him? We're both women here. Don't try to act all devoted in front of me. Even a dog would shake its head at your act. Lu Yi was sharp-tongued as ever. I used to remind her not to be so cutting with her words, but she never cared. I only curse out people who deserve it, she'd say. Su Hao often shook his head helplessly too. It's good to be a woman. If I curse someone out like that, I'd probably get beaten up. I couldn't believe that after 5 years, her foul mouth hadn't changed a bit. After her tirade, Lu Yi carefully snuck a glance at me. But far from feeling uncomfortable, I actually smiled. Who decreed that men must endlessly tolerate women? Who said men have to be magnanimous about everything? Throughout this failed marriage, I tried my best to stay rational. But I was just so tired. All sorts of shackles had bound me. Now, finally, someone was standing up for me, venting my frustrations. I couldn't be happier. How could I possibly blame her? Just then, Hu Jibin walked over. He had clearly heard our conversation, but his face was impassive. He chose to simply ignore it. Sorry, Qingyu. Something came up at the office. I can't give you a ride today. What did you say? Su Qingyu stared at Hu Jibin in disbelief. But he didn't even spare her a glance, simply turned, and practically ran off. Tsk, tsk, tsk. Dumped by the husband, and now the side piece runs off too. How pitiful. Lu Yi tooted, shaking her head, her tone dripping with sarcasm. Su Qingyu's face flushed crimson with anger. I had never seen her look so utterly wretched. Before, it was always her embarrassing me, throwing tantrums regardless of the occasion, even criticizing my elders at family gatherings. Saving face for me in front of friends? Impossible. But for 5 years, I never complained. Now, though, I no longer needed to cater to her emotions. Lu Yi, don't think I don't know what you're up to. Su Qingyu glared venomously at Lu Yi, her voice cold. Ooh, well now, Lu Yi shot back. Has our Miss Su learned mind reading in the 5 years we haven't seen each other? Perfect timing. Why don't you tell me, am I thinking about slapping you to vent my anger? Or maybe taking advantage of the situation and getting together with Jiang Yuchen? With that, Lu Yi deliberately grabbed my hand and waved it provocatively in front of Su Qingyu. You, what about me? You cheating tramp. You still have a nerve to shout here? How I've been too easy on you? Who the hell do you think you are, you bitch? Maybe you should come up with your own 72 vile arts. Su Qingyu turned purple with rage from this barrage of insults. Are you crazy? I immediately cut in sharply. Watch your mouth, Su Qingyu. Didn't your parents teach you any manners? Su Qingyu looked stunned. What are you doing? She was the one who started. I didn't hear anything just now. I interrupted coolly. I heard that. Su Qingyu choked on her words. Lu Yi smirked triumphantly, leaned against my shoulder, and stuck her tongue out at Su Qingyu. Serves you right for looking for trouble. I couldn't be bothered dealing with Su Qingyu anymore and led Lu Yi away. Before leaving, she turned back and added one last warning. Let me tell you, Yu Chen is good-natured and tolerant, but I have a notoriously bad temper. Su Qingyu, if I find out you're bothering him again, I'll curse your ancestors back 18 generations. Su Qingyu stamped her foot in fury, staring at me resentfully, seemingly hoping I would say something. But I didn't even glance her way. In the rearview mirror, I saw her desolate figure. She stood there all alone, just like I had been when I arrived. That evening, Lu Yi and I went to Su Hao's place for hot pot. His wife was very welcoming, and Lu Yi had even brought gifts for everyone. Su Hao added some meat to my bowl, joking, "Here you go. Isn't this what you like? Don't say I'm hogging it all this time." Lu Yi blinked, seeming a bit lost. Yu Chen still prefers milder food now, right? Su Hao burst out laughing. What are you talking about, Yi? Have you forgotten our old hot pot squad days? Old Jiang couldn't even handle the spicy broth, remember? Lu Yi looked confused. He had to cook his tripe in the clear soup. His stomach's weak. He can't handle spicy food at all. You forgot. Then why was Su Qingyu saying so seriously today that Yu Chen hates clear soup the most? As if she knew him so well. Lu Yi scratched her head. I thought Yu Chen's taste had changed. You have no idea. I felt so unsure when I was arguing with Su Qingyu today. Su Hao quickly coughed twice, winking at her to stop talking. He glanced at me, then quickly added more meat to my bowl. Eat up, eat up. I understood what he was thinking, and I knew he was trying to smooth things over for me. Su Qingyu couldn't eat a meal without spice. When we were together, she always complained that my food was too bland. It got to the point where if I made anything mild, she wouldn't even look at it before throwing it away. To accommodate her, after we got married, I started trying to get used to spicy food. Perhaps it had been too long, so long that Su Qingyu had completely forgotten that I had changed my eating habits just for her. It wasn't that I didn't like spicy food, but rather that I had a mild allergy to chili peppers. Even slightly spicy food would make my skin flush red and my whole body uncomfortable. But Su Qingyu never paid any attention to it. Soon, the atmosphere livened up again. After a few rounds of drinks, Lu Yi grabbed my hand, her eyes hazy with drink. You got divorced. I'm so happy. I'm happy, so I'm drinking. Seeing you happy makes me happy too. Exactly the same words she'd said 5 years ago when I got married. I felt a bit helpless and made her a cup of honey water. You were happy when I got married, and you're happy now that I'm divorced. Lu Yi didn't answer, just kept giggling foolishly. Su Hao was chuckling foolishly too, but his wife suddenly teased. She was pretending to be happy before, but now she's genuinely happy, right? She said this while clearing the trash. All right, it's getting late, isn't it? Yu-chin, why don't you take Yi home? Old Su and I can clean up here. Okay. I got up and helped Lu Yi to her feet. Su Hao started to help, but his wife shot him a look that sent him back. I noticed this exchange and gave a wry, helpless smile. After taking Lu Yi home, her brother opened the door. Seeing her dead drunk, he surprisingly didn't ask many questions and even invited me in to sit for a while. I waved my hand, declining, exchanged a few pleasantries, and headed home. The next day around noon, I was woken up by urgent knocking on the door. I opened the door to find, unexpectedly, Su Qingyu. What is it? I left something behind. Go ahead. I stepped aside. As soon as Su Qingyu stepped inside, she noticed the trash bin by the door, and her face paled. These, you're throwing all this out. I glanced at the bin. Most of the things inside held memories of our past. Yeah, I don't want them anymore. I packed them up earlier, but forgot to take them out. Su Qingyu froze. She didn't speak, just stood there motionless. After a long moment, she suddenly bent down and pulled all the items out. If you don't want them, give them to me. She turned her head, forcing an awkward smile. Can I? I felt nothing. Take them if you want. Saves me the trouble of throwing them out. Tears instantly welled up in Su Qingyu's eyes. You really don't want them anymore? She asked again. I was getting impatient. If you don't want them either, just leave them there. I'll take them out with the trash later. No, I want them. I casually handed her a trash bag and went back to the kitchen to cook. When I came out, I saw her sitting at the dining table, staring blankly at me, as if she'd lost her soul. I cleared my throat. She snapped back to reality, giving a bitter smile. I remember. You used to love bustling around the kitchen, trying to cheer me up. Watching you cook just now. It felt like old times. I didn't give her a chance to finish. Did you find her things? Su Qingyu paused, then lowered her head. Found them. Nothing else left behind? No. Then is there anything else? I didn't mince words, clearly telling her to leave. Su Qingyu's eyes reddened slightly. See, can I stay for lunch? No. I refused without hesitation. You can leave now. Su Qingyu gave another bitter smile. In such a hurry to kick me out. Yes. Su Qingyu looked at me, crestfallen. After a long pause, she finally left, carrying the 2 trash bags. At the door, she suddenly turned back, looking as if she'd made up her mind about something. Actually, when I gave you the divorce papers that day, it wasn't. Before she could finish, Lu Yi's voice came from behind me. Wasn't what? Su Qingyu frowned the moment she saw her. What are you doing here? Seriously? Lu Yi glared back at her. Then what are you doing here? Words were exchanged, and, just like that, they were bickering again. But after just a few rounds, Su Qingyu retreated defeated and turned to leave. Lu Yi, however, sat down at the dining table with a smile. Eating all by yourself? I asked with a smile. Want a bowl? Sure. Lu Yi sounded pleasantly surprised. It's been ages since I last tasted your cooking. I filled a bowl for her and passed it over. She dug in, remarking as she ate. Your cooking is as amazing as ever. Whoever ends up with you is going to be really lucky. She was always like that, never stingy with compliments. Back then, she was always the one in our little group who provided emotional support. Who that whoever will be is uncertain, but right now, you're the lucky one. Lu Yi's eyes crinkled into crescents. But I want to be lucky enough to eat like this in the future too. How about you marry me? She propped her cheeks up with both hands. You'll have to settle down with someone eventually, right? And I'm getting pressure to marry too. Why don't we just get together? Then I can eat well every day. Her tone was exactly like when she usually joked around. But when I looked into her eyes, I saw they were burning with intensity. There wasn't a hint of joking in them. I froze. Lu E immediately burst out laughing. Just kidding. What, did I scare you? She bit her lip, her smile unnatural. It was a habit of hers, an unconscious gesture when she was lying. Realization dawned on me. What's wrong? Can't take a joke. Lu E sounded a little nervous. It was my bad. I shouldn't have joked like that. Don't be mad, okay? Even if things don't work out between us, we can still be good friends. I knew very well how awful it felt to compromise yourself for someone else's sake. Lu E kept smiling, but I noticed the redness rimming her eyes. All right, I changed the subject. Tell me about your 5 years abroad. She stared at me for a long moment before finally nodding. Okay. We talked for a long time, from sunrise to sunset, tirelessly. As night fell, I saw her off. Then I sat alone on the sofa. I didn't know how to respond to what she'd said earlier that day. I also didn't know how I was supposed to act around her from now on. Louie was a good girl, but I couldn't just jump into another relationship right after ending one. I didn't sleep at all that night. Over the next few days, perhaps to avoid awkwardness, Louie didn't bring up that day's conversation again, and I tacitly went along, pretending it never happened. Soon, the 30-day cooling-off period passed, and Su Qingyu and I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register our marriage. Before we went inside, Su Qingyu suddenly stopped me. Jiang Yuchen, isn't there anything you want to say to me? Her eyes were full of hope. If you just say it now. Let's hurry. I cut her off. Let's get this over with. I have plans to eat with Yi and Su Hao later. At the mention of Lu Yi's name, Su Qingyu's expression instantly soured. Lu Yi again? What is it? I asked back. Su Qingyu frowned deeply. Did you divorce me for her? I scoffed. Don't forget, you were the one who asked for the divorce. I was just acting on impulse. Impulse? I shook my head, not wanting to delve deeper. Whether intentional or not. 11 times. Every single time divorce came up, it was because of Hu Jibin. I'm not an idiot, and I'm no doormat. I had agreed. We'd reached an agreement. Nothing more needed to be dug up. What's the point of saying all this now? I urged her coldly. Let's go in. I'm in a hurry. But Su Qingyu stood rooted to the spot. Jiang Yuchen, we don't really have to. What do you mean? I raised an eyebrow at her. Are you trying to tell me now that you still have feelings for me? Su Qingyu's expression shifted, but ultimately, she lowered her head, pretending indifference. How could that be possible? She would never admit she was wrong. Never had. Not then, not now. Fine by me. Save me the breath. Let's go. Just 10 minutes later, I held the divorce certificate. From this moment on, Su Qingyu and I were completely done. Before I left, she suddenly called out to me. If I hadn't given you the divorce papers, would you? I still would have divorced you. I finished for her. Su Qingyu paused. Then what if Abin and I hadn't met again? She knew the truth, really. The fundamental reason for our divorce was Hu Jibin coming back. But she also knew, perhaps even more clearly, that if it hadn't been Hu Jibin, it would have been Li Jibin or Lu Jibin. A cracked egg always attracts flies. I didn't answer Su Qingyu. I just strode away. When I arrived at the agreed-upon meeting place, I found only Lu Yi there. Seeing me, she looked a little awkward. Su Hao had something come up last minute, so if it's not convenient, we can reschedule. She seemed cautious, not as carefree as usual. It was then I realized I couldn't keep acting distant about everything. No need. Just the two of us is fine. I pulled her over to sit down and started setting out her tableware. Her expression was very unnatural. She kept her head down, avoiding my gaze. I hesitated for a moment, but still spoke. Am I really your type? Puffed. She sprayed a mouthful of water. Amidst the surprised stares of those around us, her cheeks flushed crimson, and she quickly bowed her head to wipe the table. What nonsense are you talking about? I quickly waved my hands. That's not what I meant. Louis froze. Then what did you mean? You like me, don't you? A long moment passed. Lu Yi suddenly pulled out her phone. Su Hao, get over here quick. I think something's wrong with Yu Chen's head. I snatched the phone from her. It's fine, Su Hao. You handle your business. With that, I hung up. Exasperated, Lu Yi could only meet my gaze. When did you figure it out? I shrugged helplessly. I'm not an idiot. Lu Yi was silent for a moment. So, now that you've laid it all out, does this mean we can't even be friends anymore? A bitter smile touched her lips. If I'd known, I never would have made that joke that day. At least we could still be friends. Seeing her like this, for some reason, I suddenly found it a bit hard to breathe. Noticing her eyes reddening again, I reached out and flicked her forehead. What crazy thoughts are going through your head? Lu Yi rubbed her forehead. I just feel like things have gotten less close between us, I said, looking at her earnestly. I miss the old you, the one who was always chattering away. You're a good girl, but I just got out of failed marriage, so. It doesn't matter. Lu Yi suddenly became animated. I can wait. Things between Lu Yi and me returned to their old, easygoing ways. About a week later, Su Qingyu suddenly called, saying she was going abroad and wanted to see me one last time. I refused point blank, but she insisted she was already right outside my door. Sure enough, the next second, there was a knock. Resigned, I had no choice but to open the door. "Yu Qin, you're finally willing to see me," she exclaimed, her face flushed with excitement. "Right, you've seen me. You can go now." I moved to close the door, but she quickly blocked it. "Wait, hold on." She grabbed a brooch and held it out to me. "This is for you, a keepsake." I glanced at it, a flicker of something stirring within me. I used to collect little trinkets like this. Once a friend brought me back a unique brooch from a trip. But as luck would have it, that same day, Su Qingyu and Hu Jibin had been caught in a sudden downpour and came home, soaked to the bone. When she got back and saw the brooch on the bedroom table, she flew into a rage, yelling that all I cared about was the brooch and hadn't even thought to pick her up when it was raining. In the heat of the argument, she snatched the box and threw it right out the window. Seeing this brooch again truly felt surreal. But I didn't take it. I'm not into these things anymore. You keep it. The light instantly drained from Su Qingyu's expression. You don't like it? Then I'll buy you another one. Don't bother. I don't need it. Su Qingyu froze, murmuring to herself, "Why? You used to love them." "That was before. I don't like them now." I looked straight at her. "And that includes you, Su Qingyu." Her eyes immediately reddened. You. She stammered for a moment before clutching her chest, a look of self-mockery on her face. All this time, I thought the one I loved was Hu Jibin. Even when I was with you, it was only because you looked like her, but it wasn't until after the divorce that I realized, the one I truly love is you. I had no patience for this tearful display. "I'll call Hu Jibin to come pick you up." "Don't." Su Qingyu lunged forward and snatched my phone. "Yu Qin, I don't want to be separated from you." Don't you have any lingering feelings for me at all? Do you really not love me anymore?" Just then, my phone, still in her hand, started ringing. She glanced at the caller ID and immediately hung up. But less than half a minute later, Lu Yi stepped out of the elevator. Seeing Su Qingyu, she faltered for a second, but quickly regained her composure, walked over to my side, and linked her arm through mine. "What are you doing here again?" Lu Yi asked Su Qingyu coolly. Seeing this, Su Qingyu let out a strange, unsettling laugh. You two are together." I snapped. "None of your business." The light visibly died in Su Qingyu's eyes. "Yesterday, Hu Jibin asked me to go abroad with him. I refused. I wanted to see you, but now, maybe it's better that I didn't." She turned away, looking utterly dejected. Just as she stepped into the elevator, I heard her whisper, "This is all my own doing. I deserve this." The moment before the elevator doors closed, she forced a smile at me. "Jiang Yuqin, I'm leaving." Just like the day she moved out. But I could tell from her tone, she wouldn't be coming back this time. A huge weight suddenly lifted from my chest. The elevator doors slid shut, and I pulled Lu Yi into my arms. She seemed surprised. "What's wrong? What was that for?" I shook my head. "Thank you, Yi." Sunlight streamed through the window, casting our two shadows long across the floor. I hoped the rest of my life could continue just like this, peacefully and quietly.